Okay, I am now on chapter 73, so we got some catching up to do. First things first, Kaladin can no longer use Stormlight anymore, but I guess only when Syl isn't there, he can't use it anymore. So pretty much all of his power comes from Syl. Huh. And they're kind of in a weird position right now because she's like, you gave your word to two different people, and that's not possible. Deuces! And he's like, what? So that's the thing. Moash's eyes did lighten up. Interesting that that's a real thing. And he did say, I know what you did for me. You're my captain forever. I'm glad that he said that, but I'm still saying. I did love the scene with Shallan talking to Kaladin and basically saying, like, stop being a dick to Adolin. Like, he's actually a really nice person. You're just being awful. I thought that was pretty good. When the bridge was looking like it was, someone's pulling the kill switch on it, the fact that Kaladin immediately started, like, running toward it, and Adolin saw him running and immediately started running with him, I love that. That is so good. There was not even words. He just saw Kaladin spring into action and was like, shit, okay, me too. Love it. But bridge collapsed. Bunch of people died. But Kaladin wakes up and he's with Shallan. And they're both like looking at each other like, how did they survive? They don't talk about it. Although when Kaladin was falling, he heard the screams that sounded exactly like Syl screamed when he touched a shard blade. And they kept mentioning how, like, harrowing that scream is. Makes me think it's important, and also worries me. It did make me laugh that it's those two specifically, and they're arguing so much that they, like, essentially call a chasm fiend, which was craziness, and they're like, oh god, we gotta run. And they get to run. I will say there was a moment where they're talking about, like, oh, Shallan wearing, like, bridge uniform stuff. And then he's like, oh, but you're a woman, and, that'd be too revealing. And then she starts drawing. He goes, oh, are you drawing a picture of yourself? It was a little too childish for me. Just a little bit. Like, that scene there made me think, like, because everyone else looks up to Kaladin so much, and he's this, like, figure that's this honorable kind of badass figure. But that felt a little, I don't know, just a little too childish for me, which is kind of wild to say because I love Wayne so much. But yeah, that just felt a little weird. And then we get a little background on Teft, and his parents were like, I mean, it kind of sounded like they were in a cult. Like they were all like trying to kill themselves because they thought that if you got close to death, then you would unlock your like dormant radiant power. And his mom died in some weird like saw contraption, and then his dad was executed. And he was like, that's weird. People want to kill themselves and you're going to execute them. How does that make sense? That's a fair point, Teft. And he saw his dad dead when he was, like, really young. That's rough. That is rough. The fact that Dalinar believes that Kaladin is dead, surprising. I mean, I understand because Teft, like, believes now because he knows that Kaladin's a Radiant and, like, this whole thing. But the fact that Dalinar was like, no, he's gone. Time to move on. I get it. He's a soldier. He's in charge. You gotta do what you gotta do. But no mention of Shallan. That was interesting. So then that happened. Kaladin basically talking shit to Shallan and saying, like, all you light eyes are the same and blah, 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 blah. And Shallan's just like, you know what? I'm sick of this. You are the problem, actually. And listen and blah, blah, blah. And, like, I love that she just, like, read him the riot act because I do feel like it's what he needed. And then he was like, oh, well, you've never been through anything. The moment when Cal looked into her eyes and saw, like, oh, shit, she's actually been through some stuff. And then he felt that connection. And even said that, like, she cheered him up the way Tien used to. I love that. I love that so much. Because I've talked about this, like, in my real life and in work that I've done in the past and stuff, you can tell when another person has, like, been through a lot of shit. You know, like they have similar scars, and I think that genuinely is what connects all of us. So I thought that was really cool that you know, Kaladin finally saw someone that also goes through stuff in the same way that he has, similarly, I guess, as far as he's concerned. I just thought that was a really cool, kind of beautiful moment that she was able to kind of lift his spirits. But then right after, she mentioned Adolin, and then it said that the mention of Adolin kind of dampened his mood, and I was like, what? Why? And I was like, are we doing a love triangle type thing between these three? Because I'd rather not. And the chasm feed finds them, and they're like, oh shit, we gotta get into a crevice. And they do, and Shallan summoned her shard blade in front of Kaladin and gave it to him to fight the chasm fiend. I never in a million years would have guessed that that was going to happen. Insane. But Kaladin, he touched it, and he didn't hear the screams. Very interesting. But he did take it, and that was really cool. And then we got our Jurassic Park moment where Kaladin is like staring down this chasm fiend, and Shallan's like, hey, over here. Jurassic Park through and through. So that happened, and then Kaladin, Shallan, she drew Kaladin and then created like a decoy, like a shadow clone of him, and then the chasm fiend killed that thing, and he's like, what is that? So that was cool. He did pull the old school, you know, jump into the mouth of the dragon and stab it upwards. It worked. So that's pretty cool. But, so they almost get eaten, and then they're like, the high storm's coming, so it's gonna flood, so we gotta go and, like, make a little kind of cubby in the wall, and it's like, you have a shard blade. But they mentioned that, Shallan's shard blade, like, got small. She can, like, control the length of the blade. That is really cool. That's one of the things that, to be completely honest, design-wise, I've not been a fan of through both of these books. Because I'm like, a 6-foot sword? Like, I understand, you know, Final Fantasy, Monster Hunter, shit like that, where the swords are just, like, insane. But for me, I don't know. I'm not crazy about it. So the fact that she could, like, shorten her shard blade, I don't know. I just thought that was really cool. But, yeah, that is a lot that has happened. But we're on chapter 73.